Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How they treat people who can't benefit them. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to gauge a person's true character is by observing how they treat those who can do nothing for them. It's easy to be kind, polite, and respectful to people when there is something to gain, whether it's status, money, opportunities, or social approval. But the real test of someone's integrity is how they behave toward those who have no influence over their life. The way a person interacts with waiters, janitors, cashiers, or even strangers on the street reveals their genuine nature more than their interactions with influential figures. In many cases, people put on a friendly face when dealing with their boss, a potential client, or someone they admire. They smile, speak politely, and show their best side because they know there is a reward in doing so. But when they interact with a server at a restaurant, a hotel staff member, or someone they consider beneath them, their true nature emerges. Do they speak with kindness and patience, or do they act entitled and dismissive? Someone who is only polite when they have something to gain is not a genuinely good person. They are merely strategic. Another strong indicator of character is how a person treats service workers in moments of frustration. For example, when a waiter makes a mistake with their order, or when a cashier takes a little longer to process a transaction, does this person show patience and understanding, or do they lash out with rude remarks? A truly decent person remains respectful even when things don't go perfectly. Those who degrade or belittle others over small inconveniences expose a deep-seated sense of entitlement and lack of empathy. This behavior extends beyond service workers to include people who are often overlooked in society, like janitors, security guards, delivery drivers, or even homeless individuals. Do they acknowledge these people with a smile, a greeting, or a simple thank you? Or do they ignore them as if they don't exist? A kind and humble person understands that everyone, regardless of their job or social status, deserves dignity and respect. Their kindness is not selective, it is a part of who they are. Sometimes people justify their rudeness by saying they are just straightforward or don't have time for small talk, but there is a difference between being direct and being dismissive. No one is too important to say please and thank you. No one is too busy to acknowledge another human being. When someone consistently fails to show basic decency to those around them, it speaks volumes about their character, no matter how charming they may appear in other situations. Another subtle but revealing behavior is how someone speaks about service workers when they are not around. Do they complain about them constantly? Do they make degrading jokes at their expense? Or do they express appreciation for the hard work these individuals do? A person who genuinely respects others will not only treat them well in person, but will also speak about them with kindness and gratitude when they are absent. One of the greatest signs of true character is the ability to empathize with those who are in different positions in life. A good person understands that everyone has struggles, and just because someone is serving food, cleaning a building, or driving a cab, doesn't mean they are any less deserving of respect. Many of these workers are doing their best to provide for their families, working long hours under difficult conditions. A person with strong character recognizes this and treats them with the same courtesy they would give a CEO or a celebrity. Ultimately, the way someone treats those who cannot benefit them is one of the clearest and most unfiltered glimpses into who they truly are. It reveals whether their kindness is genuine or simply a tool for personal gain. People can fake charm, intelligence, and even generosity when it suits them, but they cannot fake basic human decency in everyday interactions. So if you want to understand someone's true character, watch how they treat the ones society often overlooks. That will tell you everything you need to know. How they act under pressure. A person's true character is not revealed when things are easy. It comes to light when they are under pressure. Anyone can be composed and kind when life is going well, but when stress, frustration, or adversity enters the picture, the mask often slips. How someone behaves in difficult moments, whether it's dealing with setbacks, conflicts, or personal failures, shows who they truly are. Pressure has a way of stripping away pretenses, exposing both strengths and weaknesses in ways that cannot be hidden. One of the most telling signs of character under pressure is emotional control. When someone faces stress, do they remain calm and collected? Or do they lash out in anger, frustration, or panic? Some people become aggressive, snapping at those around them or blaming others for their problems. Others may shut down completely, refusing to communicate or take responsibility for the situation. A person with strong character, however, understands that emotions are natural but must be managed, not unleashed onto innocent bystanders. They may feel stress, but they don't allow it to turn them into someone unpleasant or irrational. Another key aspect of character is how a person treats others when they are overwhelmed. Stress can make people short-tempered, but that is not an excuse for disrespect. Watch how someone behaves when they are running late, when they receive bad news, or when they are dealing with an obstacle. Do they become rude, dismissive, or impatient? Do they take out their frustration on those around them, or do they remain considerate even when under pressure? A good person does not allow external difficulties to justify mistreating others. Responsibility is another important test of character under pressure. When something goes wrong, does the person take accountability, or do they immediately look for someone else to blame? Some individuals never admit their faults, instead pointing fingers at colleagues, family members, or even random circumstances to avoid taking responsibility. This kind of behavior is a clear sign of weak character. On the other hand, a strong and mature individual acknowledges their mistakes, learns from them, and works to fix the problem rather than making excuses. Adversity also reveals a person's problem-solving abilities and resilience. When faced with a tough situation, do they break down and give up, or do they find a way to push through? Some people allow difficulties to consume them, becoming negative and pessimistic, while others face challenges with determination and a willingness to adapt. The ability to stay focused and solution-oriented even in difficult times is a mark of strength and maturity. People who rise to challenges instead of crumbling under them are often the ones who can be trusted in both personal and professional relationships. A person's attitude in times of failure also speaks volumes. Everyone experiences failure at some point, but how someone responds to it can show whether they have a growth mindset or a victim mentality. Do they see failure as a chance to improve, or do they wallow in self-pity and bitterness? Do they use setbacks as motivation, or do they allow them to define their entire outlook? Those who take failure as a learning experience demonstrate resilience and wisdom, while those who refuse to accept it often struggle with personal growth. Another revealing moment is how a person handles unexpected challenges. Life is unpredictable and things don't always go as planned. When faced with an unexpected setback, such as a cancelled flight, a last-minute deadline, or an emergency, do they react with patience and composure, or do they spiral into frustration and anger? Some people let minor inconveniences ruin their entire mood. lashing out at those around them while others adjust, adapt, and move forward with a level head. The way someone deals with the unexpected shows their emotional maturity and their ability to handle life's uncertainties. Ultimately, pressure magnifies who we truly are. It removes the social filters and controlled appearances we present in normal circumstances. If someone consistently becomes aggressive, blames others, or loses control under stress, that behavior is not a momentary slip. It's a reflection of their deeper nature. Likewise, if someone can remain kind, patient, and responsible, even in the worst moments, that speaks to the strength of their character. Observing how someone acts under pressure will tell you far more about them than anything they say about themselves. Their attitude toward honesty. A person's relationship with honesty is one of the clearest indicators of their true character. Honesty is not just about telling the truth when it's convenient. It's about integrity, accountability, and a deep sense of responsibility toward oneself and others. People who value honesty hold themselves to a standard that goes beyond simply avoiding lies. They strive to be transparent, fair, and trustworthy in their words and actions. On the other hand, those who easily manipulate the truth for personal gain reveal a fundamental weakness in their character. One of the most telling signs of a person's honesty is how they handle difficult truths. Some people find it easy to be truthful when there are no consequences. But the real test comes when honesty might lead to discomfort, criticism, or personal loss. Do they own up to their mistakes, or do they try to cover them up with half-truths and excuses? Someone with strong character understands that honesty, even when painful, is always the best choice in the long run. They take responsibility for their words and actions even when it's difficult. Lying often starts small, with little white lies that seem harmless. However, a person who regularly twists the truth in minor situations will likely do the same in more significant matters. If someone exaggerates their achievement, makes up excuses, or lies about unimportant details, it's a warning sign that they might not be trustworthy when it really counts. Small lies can easily grow into bigger ones, creating a pattern of deception that eventually erodes trust. People who respect honesty do not feel the need to deceive, even in the smallest matters. Another key indicator of someone's integrity is whether they are honest when no one is watching. True honesty isn't just about what someone says in public. It's about what they do when they know they won't get caught. Will they take credit for someone else's work if no one finds out? Will they cheat on a test, a business deal, or even in relationships if they believe there are no consequences? A person of strong character remains honest not because they fear getting caught, but because they hold themselves to a higher standard. Honesty is also reflected in how someone communicates with others. Do they give honest feedback, or do they tell people what they want to hear? Some individuals prefer to sugarcoat the truth or avoid difficult conversations to keep the peace, but a person with integrity understands that honesty, even when uncomfortable, is a form of respect. They don't use honesty as an excuse to be rude, but they also don't mislead others, just to avoid confrontation. They believe that truthful communication builds trust, while dishonesty only creates confusion and disappointment. People's attitudes toward honesty also show up in how they handle promises and commitments. Do they say one thing and do another? Do they make promises they have no intention of keeping? A person's word should mean something, and those who constantly break their promises or go back on agreements demonstrate that their honesty is conditional. Someone with a strong sense of integrity values their commitments and follows through on their word even when it's inconvenient. They don't just say what sounds good in the moment, they mean what they say. Another important aspect of honesty is how a person reacts when confronted with the truth. When caught in a lie, do they admit their mistake and correct it, or do they double down and try to cover it up with more lies? Some individuals become defensive or try to shift the blame onto others, refusing to take responsibility. However, a person of true character acknowledges their faults, learns from them, and makes an effort to do better. Their honesty is not about appearing perfect, but about being real and accountable. Ultimately, a person's attitude toward honesty is a direct reflection of their inner values. Those who are consistently honest, even when it's difficult, show strength, integrity, and self-respect. On the other hand, those who manipulate the truth for personal gain reveal a lack of authenticity and a willingness to deceive. By paying attention to how someone treats honesty, not just in big moments but in everyday situations, you can gain deep insight into who they truly are. How they handle power and success. One of the most revealing tests of a person's true character is how they behave when given power or when they achieve success. Many people believe that wealth, status, or authority changes a person, but in reality, these things only magnify who they already were. Someone who is kind, humble, and ethical before success will remain that way when they reach the top, while someone who is selfish or arrogant will only become worse when given influence. Observing how a person handles power and success can provide deep insight into their true nature. A key indicator of character is whether success makes a person more arrogant or more grateful. Some people, once they reach a position of authority or accumulate wealth, begin to look down on others, believing they are superior because of their achievements. They talk differently, treat people differently, and expect special treatment. On the other hand, a person with strong character remains grounded, remembering where they came from and treating others with the same respect they always have. True success does not make a person feel above others, it makes them more grateful and generous. Another crucial aspect of handling power is how a person treats those who are beneath them in status or authority. A true leader understands that power is a responsibility, not a tool for personal gain. Do they use their position to uplift others, or do they exploit it for control and manipulation? Some people, when given even a small amount of power, begin to mistreat subordinates, micromanage, or act in a controlling manner. This is a sign that they were never truly kind or fair to begin with. They simply lacked the opportunity to dominate others before. A person's generosity after success is also a strong indicator of their character. Some individuals, once they achieve wealth or fame, become selfish, hoarding their resources and refusing to help others. They forget the people who supported them along the way and become consumed with maintaining their own status. However, those with true integrity use their success as a way to give back, whether it's mentoring others, helping those in need, or simply sharing their knowledge and experience. They see their achievements as a tool to create a positive impact rather than just a means for personal gain. Another revealing trait is how a person handles praise and recognition. Do they accept success with humility, acknowledging the support and efforts of those who help them along the way, or do they take all the credit, acting as if they accomplish everything alone? A person with strong character understands that no one succeeds entirely by themselves. They recognize their team, their mentors, and even the opportunities that came their way. Meanwhile, those who become self-absorbed and dismissive of others' contributions reveal a deep sense of entitlement. One of the most dangerous effects of power is when it leads a person to believe they are above the rules. Some people, once they achieve a certain level of influence, begin to act as if they are untouchable. They break promises, ignore ethical boundaries, or manipulate situations to serve their own interests. They expect special treatment and react badly when held accountable. This behavior shows that their character was never truly strong. It was only hidden when they had less influence. A person with integrity, however, remains committed to fairness and accountability, no matter how powerful they become. Success also reveals how a person handles failure and setbacks. Ironically, some people who achieve great things struggle the most when they encounter obstacles. They become defensive, blame others, or refuse to acknowledge mistakes because they are so used to being seen as successful. True character, however, is displayed in how someone handles both wins and losses. A strong person remains humble in victory and resilient in defeat, using both experiences as learning opportunities rather than allowing either to define them completely. Ultimately, how someone handles power and success is one of the greatest tests of their true character. While anyone can appear kind and fair when they have little influence, success magnifies a person's deepest qualities. Those who remain humble, fair, and generous despite their achievements are the ones with true strength, while those who become arrogant, selfish, or corrupt were never truly good to begin with. By observing how a person acts when they have power, you can gain a clear understanding of who they really are. Reaction to other people's success. A powerful way to understand a person's true character is by observing how they react to the success of others. It is easy for people to be supportive when they are on the same level or ahead, but when someone else starts achieving more, whether in career, relationships, wealth, or recognition, true feelings come to the surface. Some individuals genuinely celebrate others' victories, while others become envious, dismissive, or even resentful. The way a person responds to someone else's achievement says far more about them than their words ever could. One of the clearest signs of strong character is when someone can sincerely celebrate the success of others without feeling threatened. A person with confidence and a positive mindset understands that another person's victory does not take anything away from them. They offer genuine congratulations, encourage others to keep striving, and may even feel inspired to work harder themselves. This is the attitude of someone who has a growth mindset and a secure sense of self-worth. On the other hand, those who react negatively to other success often reveal deep insecurities. Instead of feeling happy for someone else's accomplishments, they may downplay them, make sarcastic comments, or even find faults to diminish the achievement. Phrases like, "they just got lucky, anyone could have done that," or "it's not that impressive," are all signs of hidden envy. These reactions suggest that the person views life as a competition where someone else's win automatically means their own loss. This mindset not only damages relationships but also prevents personal growth, as it creates resentment rather than motivation. A more subtle but equally revealing sign of character is whether a person can be happy for others even when they are struggling themselves. It is easy to be supportive when things are going well, but when someone is facing setbacks, whether in their career, personal life, or finances, watching others succeed can feel difficult. However, a person with true strength and maturity does not allow their struggles to turn into jealousy or negativity. Instead of resenting the success of others, they use it as inspiration, reminding themselves that their time will come as well. Another key behavior to observe is whether someone offers support when their friends, colleagues, or family members are pursuing ambitious goals? Do they encourage and uplift others, or do they try to bring them down? Some people, feeling insecure about their own position, try to discourage others from reaching higher. They may subtly criticize, give discouraging advice, or act uninterested in someone's aspirations. This kind of behavior often stems from fear, the fear that someone else's success will highlight their own lack of progress. A person with good character, however, wants to see the people around them grow and succeed, even if it means they have to work harder to keep up. Social media has made this issue even more visible. It is common to see people who refuse to like, comment, or acknowledge a friend's achievements online, even when they are very active otherwise. This passive-aggressive behavior is a modern form of envy, one where a person may not openly criticize, but they intentionally withhold support as a way to express resentment. A person with true character, however, supports others openly, not because they have to, but because they genuinely want to see people thrive. Another revealing moment is how someone reacts when a friend or colleague surpasses them. It is one thing to support someone who is successful in a different field or at a different stage in life, but when someone within the same group or industry starts excelling, that is when real character is tested. Do they cheer them on, learn from them and remain supportive? Or do they create distance, gossip, or start competing in an unhealthy way? Those who can maintain friendships and professional relationships despite differences in success levels show true emotional maturity. Ultimately, a person's reaction to other success is a reflection of their own mindset and self-worth. Those who can genuinely celebrate others' victories are confident, secure, and growth-oriented, while those who react with envy or negativity reveal deep insecurities and a scarcity mindset. If you want to truly understand someone, watch how they treat those who are succeeding, because their reaction speaks volumes about who they really are. How they treat people who can't do anything for them. One of the clearest indicators of a person's true character is how they treat those who have nothing to offer them in return. It is easy to be kind and respectful to people who are influential, wealthy, or beneficial in some way. Many individuals put on a polite and charming front when dealing with those who can help them climb higher, but their real nature is revealed in how they interact with people who hold no power over them, such as waiters, janitors, cashiers, or even strangers they will likely never see again. A person with genuine kindness and integrity does not change their behavior based on someone's status. They believe that every human being deserves respect, regardless of their job, income level, or influence. Whether they are speaking to a CEO or a restaurant server, their tone remains the same: considerate, polite, and appreciative. They do not see kindness as something transactional. Instead, it is simply a part of who they are. They understand that treating others well is not about social positioning, but about basic human decency. On the other hand, those with weak character often behave differently depending on whom they are interacting with. They may be overly polite and charming toward those in positions of power, but dismissive, rude, or even cruel to those they consider beneath them. You may notice them being warm and engaging in a business meeting, but impatient and condescending with a retail worker. This kind of behavior reveals that their kindness is not authentic. It is merely a strategy to gain favor from those who can help them. Their true nature emerges when they believe there are no consequences for being rude. A good way to observe this trait in action is by watching how someone interacts with service workers. Do they say please and thank you to a waiter? Do they make eye contact with a cashier? Or Do they treat them as if they are invisible? When there is an issue with their food order, do they handle it calmly or do they lash out as if the worker's only purpose in life is to serve them? People who lack empathy often treat service workers with irritation and entitlement, while those with genuine character show patience and respect, understanding that everyone deserves dignity. This principle extends beyond just public interactions. In workplaces, some individuals treat their bosses with great respect but completely disregard their subordinates. They may be extremely professional and courteous in meetings with upper management, but behave dismissively or even cruelly toward assistants, interns, or lower-level employees. A true leader, however, treats everyone with fairness and decency regardless of their title. They understand that power should not dictate how someone is treated, and they lead with respect rather than intimidation. Another telling sign of character is how a person treats those who are struggling. When someone encounters a homeless person on the street, do they acknowledge them with a kind word or do they look away, pretending they don't exist? Do they speak to a disabled person with the same respect they would offer anyone else? Or do they treat them with discomfort or impatience? A person's reaction to those in vulnerable situations speaks volumes about their ability to empathize. Those with strong moral values understand that every person deserves to be seen and treated with dignity, regardless of their circumstances. Even in friendships and relationships, this test applies. Some individuals are only interested in maintaining connections with people who can offer them something, whether it's social status, money, or networking opportunities. They may be extremely engaged when a friend is in a position of influence, but quickly lose interest when that friend is going through a difficult time. However, a true friend values people for who they are, not for what they can provide. They show up not just during times of success, but also during moments of struggle, proving that their care is genuine and unconditional. Ultimately, how a person treats those who can do nothing for them is a pure reflection of their values. It strips away pretense, showing whether they act with integrity or only behave well when there is something to gain. Anyone can be kind when it benefits them, but true character is demonstrated in the moments when no reward is involved. By paying attention to how someone interacts with those who hold no power over them, you can gain a deep and honest understanding of their real nature. How they handle criticism and disagreement. A person's true character is often revealed in how they respond to criticism and disagreement. It is easy to remain calm and composed when receiving praise, but when someone is faced with opposing views or constructive feedback, their genuine nature comes to the surface. Do they listen with an open mind or do they become defensive and hostile? Do they consider the possibility that they might be wrong, or do they dismiss other perspectives outright? How someone reacts in these moments shows whether they are secure, humble, and willing to grow, or whether their ego controls them. One of the most important qualities of a strong and mature individual is their ability to accept criticism without taking it personally. No one enjoys being told they are wrong, but those with wisdom and emotional intelligence recognize that constructive criticism is an opportunity to learn. Instead of reacting with anger or denial, they listen carefully, analyze the feedback, and use it to improve. They do not see criticism as an attack, but rather as a chance to grow. This ability to separate emotions from logic is a mark of true character and self-confidence. On the other hand, those who lack maturity often respond to criticism with immediate defensiveness. Instead of listening and reflecting, they react with irritation, aggression, or even personal attacks. They may try to shift the blame, make excuses, or discredit the person offering feedback. In some cases, they resort to passive-aggressive behavior, shutting down the conversation entirely. This kind of reaction stems from insecurity. Rather than viewing criticism as helpful, they see it as a threat to their self-worth. A particularly telling sign of character is how someone reacts when they are clearly in the wrong. Do they acknowledge their mistake and take responsibility, or do they refuse to admit fault? Some people will go to great lengths to avoid saying, "I was wrong." They may twist the facts, gaslight others, or even change the subject to avoid accountability. However, a person with integrity understands that admitting a mistake does not make them weak, it makes them honest. Owning up to errors and working to correct them is a sign of strength, not failure. Beyond criticism, how a person handles disagreement is also revealing. In any relationship, whether personal, professional, or social, differences in opinion are inevitable. Some individuals are able to engage in respectful discussions, recognizing that different perspectives can exist without hostility. They approach debates with curiosity, ask thoughtful questions, and remain open to new ideas. They understand that disagreement does not have to mean conflict. It can be a way to learn and find common ground. In contrast, some people cannot tolerate opposing viewpoints. They see disagreement as a personal attack and react with anger, ridicule, or even contempt. Instead of engaging in a meaningful conversation, they shut others down, resort to name-calling, or refuse to listen. This is often because their sense of identity is tied too closely to their opinions, making any challenge feel like an attack on their self-worth. A person's ability to handle differing viewpoints with patience and respect is a direct reflection of their maturity and emotional stability. Another significant aspect of handling criticism and disagreement is how a person treats those who challenge them. Do they respect people who offer different perspectives, or do they only value those who agree with them? Some individuals surround themselves only with people who reinforce their beliefs, avoiding any form of intellectual challenge. This creates an echo chamber that limits personal growth. A person with true confidence, however, welcomes different opinions and values critical thinking, knowing that engaging with diverse perspectives only strengthens their understanding. Ultimately, the way someone responds to criticism and disagreement is one of the clearest indicators of their true nature. Do they react with humility or arrogance? Do they listen and learn, or do they attack and dismiss? A person who can accept feedback with grace, admit when they are wrong, and engage in respectful discussions, no matter how difficult, demonstrates emotional strength and integrity. By observing how someone handles these situations, you can gain a deeper understanding of their real character.